Chapter 1 House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, U.S. Capitol Building, November 2003. Maggie Jenkins hurried across the stone pavers outside the east front of the U.S. Capitol Building. The autumn wind was especially biting before sunrise. She ducked into an arched entryway to the left of towering marble stairs, tugged open the heavy wooden door, and slipped inside just before a sudden gust slammed it shut behind her. She glanced left at a plaque honoring 2 Capitol Hill police officers who'd been gunned down by a madman in that very spot 5 years earlier. Until the chaos of September 11th, 2001, she couldn't have imagined a more horrific day on the Hill. "Morning, miss." The officer's greeting pulled her back to the present. "Morning." She plopped her Kate Spade satchel on the X-ray machine's conveyor belt and passed through the metal detector. The officer's attention turned to the machine's video screen. "ID, please." Maggie fished her badge from the pocket of her black trench coat. Getting to work so early meant that it was going to be a long day, but working regular 9-to-5 hours hadn't been an option for months. There'd been one major national security episode after another this year, from the U.S. invasion of Iraq to the ongoing manhunt for Saddam Hussein. And besides, the longer she stayed at work, the less time she spent at home, alone and missing Steve. 3 months left on his overseas tour. It felt more like 3 years. The officer nodded as Maggie snatched her purse and headed for the crypt. She paused, savoring the silence in the dimly lit cavernous room. Soon enough, ringing phones, humming computers, and whirring copy machines would replace the hush. Her heels clicked across the smooth stone floor as she made her way to the elevator on the far left. Every now and then, wandering tourists would mistake this elevator for a public one. They'd soon discover that it had a sole destination, a rather unremarkable hallway in the attic of the Capitol building. Inside the car, Maggie repeatedly punched the up button. A minute later, the old doors groaned open, depositing her 40 feet from the entrance to the House Intelligence Committee office. She mumbled a greeting to the night guard, who buzzed her through the main door. The hearing room directly ahead was dark. She opted for the lit corridor that wound its way around the backside of the windowless space. Uninspiring framed prints of the nation's capital dotted the tan, soundproof, textured walls. A little further up the hall, her boss Frank Reynolds ducked into his office, shutting the door behind him. Odd. He usually wasn't in before 8 a.m. She shrugged and turned into the second office on the left, a small space with worn government-issue gray carpeting and walls painted to match. Maggie hung her coat and purse on the coat rack in the corner, slid into her chair, and fired up the compact desktop computer. She grabbed a pad of paper and wrote out her to-do list. Finish chairman's briefing book for today's hearing. Ask agency for latest intel on Putin. Call mom. Wedding dress fitting moved to December 4th. The computer screen brightened from black to green. She logged in, opened the briefing document, and picked up where she'd left off last Friday. "Could I speak with you a minute?" She glanced up, then returned her gaze to the monitor. "You're here early, Frank. What's up?" "Maggie." She was racing against a deadline. "Can it wait a bit? Have to finish this." The committee's chairman needed the briefing book ASAP. "Maggie," repeated Frank. She saved the document and swiveled in her chair. "Sorry." She paused, startled by the sudden appearance of another man next to him. The CIA's Deputy Director of Operations. "Warner?" She glanced at the day planner on her desk. Had she forgotten an important meeting? "Can we talk?" Warner Thompson approached her desk. He was the CIA's spy master, a powerful man whose calendar was filled with urgent matters of national security.